Repetition creates habits. It's a universal truth that you can count on. And every time you pick up a ball to play or practice, you're creating habits or muscle memory, whether you're aware of it or not. Now, they could be bad habits or good habits. Just remember, any bad habit will keep you from being the best you can be. Good habits, on the other hand, like the ones you've seen so far in this video, will enable you to move on to the next level. So don't be deceived. You are creating muscle memory, good or bad, every time you pick up the ball. Now, perhaps you're a beginner, a blank slate with no habits. Well, the quickest path to good muscle memory, and by the way, the only way to create new habits, is through high amounts of repetition. How much, you ask? I'll give you an idea in Chapter 10, but needless to say, it varies from person to person. What I can tell you is to simply keep repeating what you want until it sticks, until it becomes your habit, your natural instinct. Even if you play at a high level, you may have a specific part of your shooting motion that must be developed to a greater degree than it is now before you can see overall improvement in your shot. So, what follows are the three most common areas that need to be isolated in order to create new muscle memory. Be prepared for the following three things. These drills might require high amounts of repetition in order to erase your old habits and establish new and better habits in their place. One, two, or all three of these areas might have to become part of your daily homework for a while, alongside everything else you do when training your shot. And last, everyone, regardless of his or her level in the game, should come back periodically and sharpen themselves in these three areas.
Chapter 5. Training your shooting stroke.
This stroke is the final touch that you'll put on the ball at the end of the shot motion. Everything else could be correct, but if a player has a bad stroke, he or she is going to be a bad shooter. On the other hand, regardless of their footwork, or how high they jump, or almost any other factor, all great shooters have a great stroke at the end of the shot, and their strokes are almost all identical.
The big picture.
Let's look at the whole picture. When the ball is set, your elbow and wrist form two right angles. When the shot motion begins, the ball travels up the shot line with the two right angles still intact until the ball clears your eye level. But we're not going to practice any of that motion in this chapter. Instead, we're going to isolate the shooting motion from this point forward. From here to the release point is the shooting stroke that we want to develop, train, and refine.
Get set for reps.
To get in a lot of reps in a short period of time, set the ball, move it above your eyes, and then let go with the non-shooting hand. This will force you to balance and control the ball with one hand. Note that your wrist might not yet have the flexibility to form an exact 90-degree angle, but you must still bring it back as far as possible. If you don't, your elbow is forced to bend past the 90-degree point in order to bounce the ball. This is not going to lead to the best possible stroke. And by the way, the flexibility in your wrist will increase with time and repetition. Before you go up with the shooting stroke, let's examine your grip. When you set the ball in the waiter position, you can observe your shooting hand position. Spread your fingers only to the point that the ball still rests on your fingers and finger pads, including your thumb and thumb pad. Don't spread the thumb too far away from your fingers. If you do, look what happens to the elbow. Your thumb and elbow are connected. Moving the thumb under the ball moves the elbow out from under the ball and away from the shot line. Not a good thing. Remember, keep everything lined up with your shot line, and the possibility of missing left to right becomes very small.
Refining the stroke.
Now let's start the shooting stroke. While maintaining balance with one hand, the elbow goes up, but the wrist is going to remain cocked. Only when the elbow is nearing full extension does the wrist quickly break. When the elbow locks out and the wrist breaks, the first three fingers will stroke the underside of the ball and send it on its way with a backspin. Your first two fingers will be the last to touch the ball and provide the final controlling backspin touch on the ball. This is the all-important shooter's touch. These two fingers control the center of gravity of the ball during the shot motion. You can train the stroke while standing, just shooting straight up into the air, sitting and doing the same thing, or lying on your back. Regardless of which of these training methods you're using, in 2 to 3 minutes you can get up to 40 to 50 strokes. Remember the key to building muscle memory? High amounts of repetition. That's what you want.
Controlling a straight flight.
Stroke training not only involves developing the backspin, but also controlling the fly of the ball along your shot line. You can test your ability to keep the ball straight by practicing with a line on the wall, a line on the ground, or the edge of a backboard.